Radio Corporation of America presents The Magic Key. Universal Radio Service of the Radio Corporation of America, the Magic Key of RCA turns to London, the Maine Woods, and New York City to present the glorious voice of Rose BAMPTON, star of the Metropolitan Opera Company, Ray Noble and his famous orchestra, the Don Cossack, widely acclaimed Russian male chorus, Borominovich and his harmonica rascals, Reginald Gardiner, the ingratiating young comedian of At Home Abroad, John B. Kennedy in a timely special feature, and Frank Black and the NBC Symphony Orchestra playing, first, the stirring and dramatic prelude to Bizet's opera, Carmen. The homely descriptive phrase, local boy makes good, aptly tells the story of the successful European tour now being made by Borominovich and his harmonica rascals. For several years, an American radio and vaudeville headliner, Mr. Minovich and his young fellow artists have been demonstrating the fact that the lowly harmonica can be an instrument of expression and of beauty. Today, they cheerfully relinquish the tumultuous applause which French and English audiences invariably accord them to perform for an invisible audience of friends and admirers on this side of the Atlantic. The Magic Key of RCA turns to Borominovich in London.
Hello, America. This is London.
it, Blue?
This is Borominovich, wishing everyone in America a very happy and merry Christmas.
The Magic Key has returned us to Radio City, New York, headquarters of the family of RCA, whose members, RCA Victor, the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Radiotron, RCA Communications, the RCA Institute, and Radio Marine, all take pleasure in presenting these Sunday broadcasts for your interest and enjoyment. The Magic Key turns now to the sophisticated rhythms of Ray Noble and his orchestra. Introduced first to American audiences through Victor Records, this young Englishman is rapidly becoming one of the most influential figures in American popular music. Gay New Yorkers are attracted by his smooth syncopations to the smart nightclub, 65 stories in the air atop Radio City. His record releases are greeted as events by dance enthusiasts from coast to coast, and his compositions, Good Night, Sweetheart, Love is the Sweetest Thing, and The Very Thought of You, seem to have joined the ranks of perennial hits. Ray Noble plays first a characteristically smart selection from the list of his most recent Victor recordings. Dinner for One, Please, James. The vocal refrain by Al BOWLLY.
Dinner for one, please, James. Madam will not be dining. Yes, you may bring the wine in. Love plays such funny games. Dinner for one, please, James. Close Madam's room, we've parted. Please don't look so downhearted. Love plays such funny games. When my best friend told her of another, I had no chance to deny. You know there has never been another. Someday she'll find out the lie. Maybe she's not to blame. But gone are those happy hours. No, don't move her favorite flowers. Dinner for one, please, James.
In contrasting mood, Ray Noble turns to the long-lived favorite way down yonder in New Orleans. What's Christmas without a Christmas tree? At this time of year, in the Maine woods, one of the country's most unique seasonal industries goes into operation to provide these traditional Yuletide ornaments for a large number of American homes. Today, John B. Kennedy, noted news commentator of the National Broadcasting Company, accompanies the brigade of sheepskin-coated workers as they go out to cut the very trees that many of our listeners will decorate on Christmas Eve. The Magic Key of RCA turns to John B. Kennedy in the Maine woods.
Good afternoon, all. Here we are at Portland, Maine, Easter capital of Christmas freedom, on the edge of a winter wonderland. The fir tree forest belts of Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire. They're chopping in the Maine woods now. A cold December sky broods over the glassy harbor of America's northernmost Atlantic seaport. Out of this harbor, generations ago, rugged old square-rigged China clippers battled sea and storm to trade around the world. They carried cargoes of trees just like these we see here in millions, stretching away in folding valleys and rolling hills, forests of fir and spruce and pine, great splashes of green in the dull sobriety of wintry ground and sky. A shrewd old native guided us around these forests. There goes a beautiful tree down now. He might have been the local edition of Santa Claus, excepting his beard was the size of too short. He wore huge earmuffs, and when I asked him if these didn't interfere with hearing people's questions, he said yes. But it also interfered with his answering too many. The farmers tell me they get about 4 cents each. Small Christmas trees. For the larger ones, of course, they get more. The Christmas tree boys have done their Christmas lopping early. They're at it again. They're tackling a big tree, the biggest I can see. One among hundreds of carloads that will appear gallant and glittering with lights and tinsel in a million American homes. These are beautiful trees with evergreen lace-like leaves. Thousands of beauties going to add color and glow to Christmas, to the rapture of laughing children, and the incidental reminder of all fire departments to play safety first. Here's L.H. Noble, a man learned in Christmas tree law. Mr. Noble, for nearly 30 years, has been the federal forestry inspector for Maine and New Hampshire. He's seen many millions of trees. While we're all for these Christmas ornaments, Mr. Noble, doesn't it seem a trifle wasteful to cut down so many lovely trees for so brief a purpose as a Christmas celebration?
Not at all. These trees are evergreen balsam, and the crop can be replaced every 2 years.
Well, tell me, why are these particular New England evergreens superior to most other trees for the purpose of Christmas decoration?
Because the evergreen balsam doesn't shed its leaves readily and drying out as spruce and hemlock do. Besides, this tree has a pleasant odor.
Tell me again, since when did Christmas tree cultivation jump from being a hobby into an industry in Maine?
Oh, about 50 years ago, when E.K. Chapman, America's first Christmas tree king, began shipping trees all over the East and Midwest. He used to send the Christmas trees to the White House. Now his son's in the Christmas tree trade.
I see. It's a short trade, but a gay one.
Yes, there's a sideline of Christmas trees.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. Boys, take it easy with that one, or it might drop on those children over there. Mr. Noble has been talking to you about trees, and he said just now she's going to topple. And he really meant that, because they're male and female trees. And the noise that first one made it seem as though it might belong to the fair sex. Here are two bright-eyed babes in the woods. Have you come here for your Christmas tree, Sonny?
Yes, I've already got mine. I don't need anybody to cut it down.
Oh, I see. You mean to say that you roll your own Christmas trees around here. How about you, sister?
We got our tree yesterday at our Christmas groceries, too.
Well, it's a wise child that knows its own fodder. Well, there they go, trimming that great big beauty. They're going to take it away. It's going to be hauled away with another bundle of trees by good old Dobbin, whose bell is ringing in the background. Perhaps for the home of some one of you listeners in. And may the health and happiness of Christmas go with it. I stood in the old house of a great American poet this morning, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, not the football player. And his bright delight in Christmas recurred to me as I stood looking at hill and vale, clothed with the verdure of the Christmas tree. For the Christmas tree, with its evergreen beauty, is a symbol of the ever-living faith and hope and charity of the Christmas spirit. Your Christmas trees are on their way to you.
The Magic Key of RCA has returned us to Radio City, where Frank Black, Director of Music for the National Broadcasting Company, conducts the NBC Symphony Orchestra in the familiar Dance of the Hours from La Gioconda.
If you're looking for the ideal gift for your own home, your own family, the gift that will keep the spirit of Christmas alive throughout the year, you're looking for an RCA Victor, the radio with magic brain, magic eye, and metal tubes. These sensational new RCA Victor improvements assure you of the finest performance it is possible to get in radio, obtained with an ease and accuracy that makes listening doubly luxurious. Metal tubes and other outstanding features contribute to this perfection, and the outstanding cabinets are designed both to delight the eye and to enhance the tone beauty produced by the superb radio circuits. RCA Victor manufactures radios and radio phonographs for every purse and purpose. Prices start at $19.95 at the factory, and easy payments can be arranged. This Christmas, let your RCA Victor dealer help you choose for your own home an RCA Victor radio or radio phonograph. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And don't forget Victor Records, preserving the music of the world's greatest artists for the friend who has a phonograph or to accompany your own new RCA Victor set.
The Magic Key, opening a world of entertainment, presented for your pleasure and interest by members of the family of RCA, co-workers in the field of radio. Years ago, lovely Rose BAMPTON made musical history when she achieved a highly auspicious Metropolitan Opera debut at the age of 23, becoming the youngest star on the roster of America's most distinguished opera association. Concert tours added to the luster of Miss BAMPTON's growing fame, and musical critics all over the country hastened to praise her imaginative and dramatic interpretation, the flexibility and color of her rich contralto voice. Then, one night only a few weeks ago, singing in one of the famous Hollywood Bowl concerts, Rose BAMPTON created a musical sensation. The aria Una voce poco fa from Rossini's opera The Barber of Seville is recognized as a showpiece for coloratura sopranos. But contralto Rose BAMPTON sang it so beautifully that the enthusiastic applause of the huge audience interrupted the concert for many minutes. We have asked Miss BAMPTON to repeat her distinguished performance this afternoon. Miss Rose BAMPTON singing first Una voce poco fa. BAMPTON chooses as her second selection one of the sketches of Paris by Kathleen Lockhart Manning, The Reverie in the Luxembourg Garden. From the glorious voice of Rose BAMPTON, the Magic Key of RCA turns again to the suave melodies of Ray Noble and his orchestra. They play one of Mr. Noble's own compositions, sensationally successful in England, where it was first introduced, and rapidly finding favor on this side of the Atlantic. Ray Noble and his orchestra playing Love Locked Out.
Love locked out in all the cold and rain. Love locked out may never come again. Love locked out and weeping bitter tears. No one ever hears him calling. No one needs the precious gift he brings. No one heeds the song of love he sings. On the door he beats his tiny wings. Just love locked out. A world without love is a world without life. A sad world full of gloom. So see there's a place for love in your heart, 'cause he doesn't need much room. Love is well worth the waiting for. When he comes knocking at your door, fling it wide, for love locked out will come no more, no more.
cast of the longest-lived musical hit on Broadway contains the name of another Englishman who is adding to his laurels in the United States. At a quiet moment in At Home Abroad, a young man named Reginald Gardiner steps modestly before the front curtain and without any warning plunges right into the smartest and most deftly amusing monologue of this theatrical season. Playgoing Londoners have for several years recognized Mr. Gardiner as one of England's most talented and popular young actors. But At Home Abroad is his first New York show, and this afternoon marks only his second American radio appearance. The Magic Key of RCA turns to Reginald Gardiner, whose subject for this afternoon is Train.
Ladies and gentlemen, when any one of you has been ill and you're lying in bed recovering from the night before, you look around your bedroom and you'll notice all kinds of objects that you've lived with all your life, but just because you're ill, they all assume terrifying and jeering shapes. For instance, you've probably got a flowered border around the top of your wallpaper, which goes like this. All around the wall. Well, after you've gazed at that for about an hour, you suddenly find one bit that goes, slightly different. It's maddening if you gaze at that. And you find your furniture does exactly the same thing. You've got armchairs that assume frightful faces and leer at you all the time, which merely goes to prove that all these inanimate objects are actually alive. Now, the most alive thing I've ever seen is a railway engine. Not only is it alive, but it is livid, furious. It loathes humanity. And in direct contrast, of course, we have a ship. Well, a ship is a sweet, sad, graceful creature. I mean, anybody who's seen a liner go away on a long voyage cannot deny that it has that sort of, look about it. You know what I mean? As opposed to that look of an engine, which is so horrid. And an engine is the most livid thing in the world, and the only man who isn't afraid of it, I can't think why, is the engineer, who leans out of his cab and waits for the signal to go. And when he gets the signal, he turns round, catches hold of a lever, and pulls it down, and this livid beast is unleashed. Like this. And so forth on its journey. Well, now that we've unleashed this livid thing, we find that it's still equally furious, and it has a colossal argument with the rails it's running on. Like this, biddle-a-daw, giddle-a-daw, biddle-a-dee, giddle-a-daw, buddle-a-daw, biddle-a-dee, biddle-a-daw, giddle-a-daw, biddle-a-dee, giddle-a-daw, buddle-a-daw, biddle-a-dee. And that goes on the entire journey. And not only does it have a colossal argument with the rails it's running on, but also all the other rails when they dare to cross its own. Like this, biddle-a-daw, giddle-a-daw, biddle-a-dee, giddle-a-diddle, biddle-a-giddle, 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 diddle-a-diddle, diddle-a-diddle, diddle-a-bob, buddle-a-daw, and so on. You needn't really get very concerned about me. The whole of my family died in a lunatic asylum. It's all right. Now, I'm not a much-traveled man, but I'm told this goes on all over the world in all the different railways. For instance, in France, exactly the same thing takes place, and the language is different. It's all very much the same thing. And speaking of France, the first time I ever went there, I arrived at Calais, and as soon as I got off the boat, I got my first glimpse of a French engine. Well, I was very much impressed because it seemed to me to be 4 times as big and 8 times as livid as any engine I'd ever seen before. To begin with, it had 18 of everything. Many more things than your American engines. I mean, cow catchers, bells, tea cosies, knives and forks. Everything but the kitchen sink hanging all over it. And when I was crossing the rails to get to the platform on the other side where I was to catch my train, I had to walk in front of this frightful-looking beast. And I cowered away from it, and suddenly, to my amazement, it let out an extraordinarily effeminate voice. It seemed to me to be so enormously masculine, and yet as it started on its journey for Paris, all it managed to summon up was... Well, of course, I may be wrong about that, but it really does seem to me to be a little peculiar. Well, now, there's one thing I must know before I die, and that's something that takes place in tunnels which are dotted about the English countryside. You dash into one of these tunnels, the brakes go on, and if you look out of the window, you'll notice all down the tunnel at intervals are a lot of flare lights. And in between these lights are men standing. They're leaning on shovels and pickaxes and golf clubs and billiard cues and anything they can get hold of. And they live there, definitely. And as you go slowly through the tunnel, an extraordinary noise starts at the far end and slowly crashes past the window. I've no idea what it is, but it goes like this. Bong, 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 bong. Bong, dong, dong, dong. I don't know what it is. I think it's a piece of tin that's been nailed to the side of the tunnel with some number or something written on it which really doesn't seem to mean anything to anybody. And it sticks out, and it's too big. And it strikes the side of the train as it goes through the tunnel. And presumably the men are merely there to bend the tin back, ready for the next train to hit it when it comes through the tunnel. Well, now, just before I end this bit of nonsense, I would like to tell you the one thing that an engine loathes more than anything else, and that is another engine coming in the opposite direction. That it cannot bear. And by this time, you've probably settled down quite calmly, having got used to diddle-a-dom, buddle-a-da, giddle-a-deeb, and all the other maddening noises, when suddenly, to your horror, this new thing bursts upon you and nearly knocks you on the carriage floor. It's the most frightening thing in the world, and it goes like this. Fiddle-a-da, fiddle-a-da, fiddle-a-dee, giddle-a-da, buddle-a-da, hallelujah, 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 fiddle-a-da, fiddle-a-dee, fiddle-a-da, fiddle-a-da. Very silly, that's all. Don't bother about it.
In a prison camp near Constantinople in the year 1922, 36 ex-officers of the Russian Imperial Army organized a male chorus calling themselves the Don Cossacks. Under the dynamic leadership of Sergei Zharov, their musical wanderings have taken them all over the world. And 2 weeks ago, in the presence of the former Grand Duchess Marie of Russia and many eminent musical authorities, they celebrated their 3,000th concert. This afternoon, we are happy to welcome the valiant group of emigres who have done so much to acquaint the world with the beauty of Russian choral singing. The Magic Key of RCA turns to the Don Cossacks, who first sing a religious number by Bortniansky, Who Can Equal Thee? As an encore selection, the Don Cossacks bring us their famous and highly individual interpretation of one of the most famous traditional Russian airs, the Song of the Volga Boatmen. From the vocal artistry of the Don Cossack, the Magic Key of RCA turns to the musicianship of Frank Black, who leads the NBC Symphony Orchestra in Procession of the Tsardar, number 4 in the Caucasian sketches by Ippolito Ivanov. members of the family of RCA are eager to help make your holidays happy ones. If you have friends or relatives traveling by water or living abroad, any Western Union office will take your Christmas message marked via RCA and forward it through the Radio Marine Corporation for ships at sea, authorization for ships at sea, authorization for ships at sea, or through one of the 56 radio telegraph circuits of RCA communications for foreign countries. Another RCA family member, the National Broadcasting Company, has in preparation a number of special holiday programs that we are sure will help to make this Christmas a memorable one for you. You will enjoy these programs more if you listen to them on a new RCA Victor, the radio backed by the worldwide experience of RCA in every field of radio endeavor. This Christmas, give your family the gift that keeps on giving. Remember, there's an RCA Victor for every purse. We cordially invite you to be with us again next Sunday when the Magic Key turns and members of the family of RCA will present John McCormick, Walt Disney with Mickey Mouse and his other famous characters from the Silly Symphonies, Tom Dorsey and his orchestra, John B. Kennedy, and Frank Black and the NBC Symphony Orchestra. Milton Frost, speaking for one of the members of the family of RCA, the National Broadcasting Company.